Story of Concord. This week it was the director has stepped down. Ryan Ellis was the game director. He has stepped down from Firewalk Studios, or at Firewalk Studios, I should say.
I think he stepped into a different role. He didn't leave the company. If I'm
Well, they said the studio's been in limbo. Kotaku is the one that was doing this information. They're waiting for what comes next for Concord and their team. There was also some, I think the big tagline that kind of is running around the internet this week with kind of an unfounded source. It's like a trust me source, bro, or trust me, bro source rather, saying that the game took 400 million to make, which like that's nuts if that's true. But
really that feels inaccurate. Like
there is like even if you just look at at what we know of the studio in terms of like size, there. You know what? I'm not gonna say there is no way, because I've been surprised by this industry in ridiculous ways before, but like that seems very unlikely.
Yeah.
Like it's not like Pete Parsons was there as the resident car collector. You know, that's
that's a lot. Also, Goth it says he told staff at Firework last week that he would be stepping down from his game director role and move into a support role instead, according to three sources familiar with the change. So yes, he is not leaving the company / Sony / PlayStation. So
did you play it?
What?
Did you play it?
Concord? Yeah. I thought we've talked about it at length on the show. Like, I thought the game was fine, but it wasn't anything other than that. Like it was.
I had fun.
It was just like I actually played it for a decently long stream, like 5 or 6 hours. But I had no pull to go back to it. There's other games that are doing what it does.
I had sponsored hours from Sony. I probably wouldn't have touched it otherwise because I'm not like into hero shooters entirely. But I had a good time with it.
Yeah.
Until like at launch, like there's no queues. Like I couldn't. I was in the middle of a 2-hour sponsored stream, and it was like this is launch day, and there was 15-minute queues, JP, and I was like,
crazy.
This is dire. So it was my fault for not properly advertising the game. I'm pretty sure. my fucking bad.
As well. Yeah. It was a rough go.
Yeah,
it's sad. You know, it makes me like 400. You know what? I'm just gonna straight up say it. Fair, no fucking way. Like whoever said that has no idea what they're talking. Like if that turns out to be true, like I will have to retreat all my faith in Sony. And you know, I'm on the developer side of this, right? Like I'm looking at this from a very different angle. Like 400 mil on this when you know what other Sony studios are getting for their games, when you know what Sony is spending on things, it just doesn't make sense. Like that number does not make sense.
Yeah.
From what I understand, some other journalists have been digging into it. They also said that's not the number we're hearing. Like I haven't heard the number. That said, if I did have the number, I also would say the same thing. But like I have no idea what it costs. But if you take the amount of people, if you take the amount of time it presumably took, it'll be expensive, but not 400 mil. Like that seems very unlikely. The part of the story that I was more interested in was the toxic positivity part.
Yeah,
that part I found very interesting.
Yeah, so this all comes from the podcast Sacred Symbols and the host Colin Moriarty. He said the title is referred to as the future of PlayStation internally, and the studio's culture of toxic positivity hindered its development. And that was, I guess, a quote that he heard from someone.
It makes sense.
Trying to find more of the toxic positivity.
And I don't want to trash the devs, because I think there's, a lot of people who are, you wanted to say just following orders, but I mean, they were making a product, and I'm sure a lot of people believed in it. There's a lot of ex-Bungie devs who work at Firewalk, namely Josh Hamrick, who I've dealt with and worked with in the past. And I don't know where the toxic positivity stuff came from, but it wouldn't surprise me, where they just like kind of drown out dissenting opinions. depending on where they are in the food chain of the company. It's unfortunate.
It's hard, right? When you make a game, like making a game isn't like making other shit, right? Like it's a weird thing. Like you don't know what the game is when you start working on a game. You sort of set like a North Star of like, okay, we're kind of going in that direction. You might figure out something that's like kind of fun. I heard, for example, for Destiny, for the original Destiny, was the hand cannon. They got the hand cannon down and they were like, oh shit, this is cool. Let's make this video game. It wasn't that they set out with like, okay, let's start with an MMO or something. Just somebody put together a gun that went bam, because the Halo pistol was super, super popular. And they were like, let's see if we can do that better. And then from there, sort of like a game starts appearing, right? And then you kind of go from there. You start finding things that are fun. You start finding movement that's good. You start building the game, and the game kind of grows along with your understanding of the game 90% of the time, right? This idea that we have a master plan of like, this is what the game is going to be. Hell, we don't even know how many levels are going to be in the game, man. Like, we have no idea what the fuck. 75% of the time. And I'm sure both of you have played games in like late stage production or like mid stage production at some point or another in your career. They're pieces of shit 90% of the time. Like they're broken, things don't work, balance is weird. If you're good at games and you have that feel for games, right? And you have that feel for like optimizing a game, any pre-production version of a game, you're going to break in like 25 minutes, right? Like I have a game that I'm doing the first playtest on next week. I'm terrified, mate. Like I have no idea whether this game is good. Like genuinely don't know. I've been working on it for months. The first time we're going to like properly see with an audience that is in a controlled environment, is this good, right? And the thing about that is the best way you make a game is you bring this diverse group of perspectives on board. You take people that are like more hardcore players. You take people that are more hardcore developers. You take people that have been in the industry for a long time, people that haven't been in the industry for a long time. You bring artists, you bring sound designers, you bring executives, you bring advertisement people. You bring all of them to look at the game, and all of them tell you what they think. And if things are bad, you prioritize, you figure out what to fix, and you fix it in order of most urgent to least urgent. So when we talk about toxic positivity, effectively what happens is that somewhere in the team or somewhere in the culture of the team has born this belief that it will work out. It'll all come together. It'll come together last minute. And this happens often in a game. It comes together last minute, right? Like we have a joke in the games industry called "the writers will fix it," where we just literally say like, okay, this level didn't come together. We're cutting the level. We have 5 important story beats. Put them in the other levels. You can only use the recordings we already have because we ain't bringing back the voice acting, right? So we just literally would just go like, okay, the skyscraper building is gone. The skyscraper is gone. So figure out how to fit all that story beats in the previous level and the next level. Right?
Yeah.
Like this is straight up how game development happens. There's nothing weird about that. Your favorite game had that happen, right? Like this is how we make video games.
So BioWare magic's not bullshit like that. It probably just worked out most of the time.
And then sometimes it doesn't. And that's what happens, right? Sometimes it doesn't. And when that becomes so systemic that the studio cannot believe that it might not work out, that's when we talk about toxic positivity. Now, whether that's the case here, I don't know. I haven't talked to too many of the Concord devs. They're all heartbroken. Like everybody is sad from what I can tell.
Yeah, it can't be.
Can't imagine. I mean,
it's got to be awful. I mean, especially the idea of like they're not working on the game, most likely, right? Like I'd be very surprised if they reboot that game. I think that maybe Sony might try to salvage it, but
I don't know what you could do.
Yeah, like the issue was not the gameplay. It was kind of there was a lot of stuff that happened. That's a much longer conversation, but
I mean, well, art direction for one, it didn't resonate with a lot of people. There's stuff that you know.
The market's also really full.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like super full. Like $40 for a PvP only game is so tough. And that makes me worry for Marathon because I think they're going to be in a similar boat.
Totally.
Because I don't think the Bungie name carries the same weight it used to.
Definitely not.
It's just, I have this conversation with a lot of people in the games industry, including the executives that are making these decisions. But I just keep telling them, like, stop trying to make fucking Fortnite. Like, it's done. Fortnite exists. Like, if you look at the playtime, right, of people playing games, the majority of gameplay nowadays is games from 5 to 8 years old.
Yeah.
And the only reason it's that is because that's when Fortnite came out. Fortnite is a percentage of the games industry at this point, right? Not a small percentage. It's like a percentage of revenue in the games industry. And everybody looks at that and they want to be that.
Mhm.
Like, stop making, I'll be really honest, stop fucking making live service games. Like, stop it. Like, we have space for 2 or 3 a year at best. And if one of them is successful, everything for the rest of the year is fucked.
Totally. Yeah.
That's
you're
that's
100%
something
on there.
Yeah.
We play that. Everybody plays that. We have Destiny. We have Final Fantasy. We have Warframe. We have Fortnite. The kids have Roblox. Minecraft is still going. People are out of time.
Diablo 4 is still doing well, right?
Diablo 4
even though there's a lot of
PoE
shit on it, still doing well. Yeah.
World of Warcraft is still going. Like, people
20
it's
years.
not that people
They're
are
celebrating.
out of money. People people can pay $40 for a game if they want to play it. People don't want another job. People are done with having jobs in video games. Like, and I get it.
Sorry, that's right.
Shit. Like, I'm playing Black Myth.
Yeah,
having a good time with it. I finished Astrobot. Fucking incredible. Loved it. Like, loved every second of it. Right. Yeah. I'm what was the other one? I'm playing Warhammer. Having a good time with that.
Very fun.
I paid a bunch of money. I play the video game. I have a good time. I stop playing the video game.
Yeah.
Life's good, right? And I still play Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's my other game. Destiny is my other game.
I wish I still had that love for Destiny. It's definitely I feel like run its course for me. I'm so hungry for like the next live
Destiny.
looter shooter.
Yeah,
but it's so expensive to make, and it's like you have to risk it all. And who's willing to do it? That's why there's not a competitor.
Correct.
Yeah.
Also, Destiny is a weird one because Borderlands is probably your best bet when it comes to like looking at a looter shooter, right? Because Destiny is a really weird combo. Like, that game would not have worked if Destiny came out today and there was another game instead of Destiny. Destiny would flop the same way Concord did, right? Like, it would just fall flat. There's no space for more of that. The only reason Destiny is going is they're continuously sort of like trying new stuff that gets some people to come back, and they have enough legacy that you have a user base that it can keep going, right? But they're losing aggressively right now. They know it. You can see them make moves. Like, the Gallahorn is free today. Like, why is the Gallahorn free? Like, that was paid DLC before. Like, that.
Yeah.
Like, the closest thing for me would have been First Descendant, which is basically Warframe with boobs.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. I didn't think I would.
You're still playing it, right?
Probably put I've run out of stuff to do.
Really?
Yeah, I've run out of stuff to do. Stuff to chase. The chase was fun while it was there. But it's not a permanent replacement. It's something that I'll probably hit like for seasons, but it's not. Yeah, I really didn't think I was going to enjoy the game, but I liked grinding it when I still had stuff to chase.
Yeah.
But it certainly didn't grab me as hard as Destiny did for as long as Destiny did.
Sure.
Yeah.
The first one always grabs you the hardest.
Game. It's like Final Fantasy rules, right?
Yes.
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of discussions on Deadlock right now, and like, as a games industry person, that's not games industry, y'all. Like, Deadlock is a video game. I know it's made by Valve.
That's
Valve not games
game,
industry. That's not the games. That's the Valve industry. That's a separate thing. We don't talk about that. We don't. That's not. You can't look at what Valve does and be like, why don't you do that?
They're the exception.
Because everything I make, they take 30% of my money and then make Deadlock with it. Like, I don't. That was the other way around.
Did you see?
Great, yeah, sure.
I think it was this morning. They hit a brand new all-time high like global player count because Valve Steam is still growing. Also, I'm just gonna blow some minds out there because I had my mind blown about 2 weeks ago when I saw this. Valve released Steam. Do you get that? Like, Valve turned the valve and Steam came out. That's why it's called Steam. Did you know this? Did you know this? Did you know that?
Yeah.
I didn't fucking know that.
JP.
I didn't know that.
Oh, honey.
I never put it together.
Oh, no.
Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I do that. There's some people in the chat right now that just had to walk away from the PC because their minds are fucking, they're blown. It's going crazy.
They literally have that valve in the office, right? With like,
with the
pipe,
wrench on it, right? Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
No, people in chat are yelling like, "Well, what about Artifact?" The point of Valve is that Valve can do whatever the fuck they want, whether it succeeds or not, because they'll make 30% of every game out there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They can do that. If you're a games company that has to make money at some point, you can't do what Valve does.
Well, with Artifact, it didn't even like really exist, right? Like it like sort of did, or was it? What was it called? No, I think that was an Amazon one, Crucible.
That's Crucible, yeah.
Was Artifact just like killed before it came out, or it flopped? Like
it just flopped, kind of. Like Twitch has a weird relationship to it. It was Artifact was the card game. They're trading. I think it was the trading card game. Yeah.
Oh, true enough. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think what Valve does is they're just throwing spaghetti at the wall, and if something sticks, cool. They didn't put a ton of marketing behind Artifact, so it's not the same as Concord, which is like Sony. Sony's boosting it up.
Yeah.
They don't have to market it.
Yeah.
Deadlock just happened. They were just like, hey, play this game. I don't know. And if it fucking flopped, they'd be like, nah, we made it in a weekend, and they're done.
Yeah.
But if it's a hit, then it's the Valve effect. So they can do that. Yeah, they like you said, they take 30% of everybody's money. They don't market a thing. When it flops, it's like, okay. But when it hits, it's like, that's fucking Valve. You know, so it's kind of like they can't lose.
Yeah, Valve is...
until Gabe's gone. And
well,
then we all
I mean, as you saw on, or maybe didn't see on Twitter, he plans to be immortal. And that hit like, I think 1 million likes or some shit on Twitter.
I'm pretty sure that was a parody account.
Oh, was that really? Was that a parody? Oh, no. First the Steam thing and now a parody. God damn it.
I feel like we need to can you go back to school? Is that a thing? Like just for
I'll fucking die, man. This is the US. What are you talking about? You know what mortality rates?
Oh shit. Oh, damn. Holy shit.
Why would you wish that shit on me?
Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm from the Netherlands, man. Nothing happens in school. So we take swimming class.
Man, we don't do that shit in the US.